they have gained power in their divisive tactics. That in this division, in this taboo, it creates silence. It creates a lack of voice for opposition. And that is unacceptable in a free and democratic society. I've heard Mr. Carty say, there's not two sides to this issue. I think we've proved something different. We stand here as the other side. And he thinks there is power in not engaging with us, in not coming to the table to dialogue, in not proving that there is justification for a bill such as this in New Brunswick. We want a voice. We're not leaving without a voice. They can no longer hide behind this as an anti-vaccine issue, which is easily dismissed. We want justification. We want proof. And we want it today. We will have our questions answered. It's not enough to push us aside. It's not enough to call us anti-vaxxers and not engage in a discussion about the merits of this bill. How many of you were here for the Bill 39 testimonies?
We were 6.
Bill 39, for those of you who might not know, preceded Bill 11 and is absolutely identical in wording with the exception of the inclusion of the notwithstanding clause in this bill. I listened to the testimony of Mr. Carty and the questions posed from his MLAs. These questions remain largely unanswered, and this is what you hold in your hands today. And we call on Mr. Carty to come out and speak to the justification of this bill in New Brunswick. Because that is how true policy is made. It is not made on the backs of division. It is not made on the backs of fear. It is made with critical thought. It is made in response to a need in society. What need is there for this bill? What is a specific public health issue currently in New Brunswick that this policy is seeking to address? What is our current vaccination rate, Mr. Carty? What is the current exemption rate, Mr. Carty? What is the exemption rate for medical exemptions, for parental exemptions? And what is the reason that, according to his data, 20% of the population remains unvaccinated? He himself has said, I cannot answer this question. We do not have the data. We don't have the data? And yet we have a bill which seeks to increase vaccination rates. How is this policy going to achieve that if we don't even know what the problem is? Mr. Carty, and as you said, this is not a vaccine issue. We are not here to debate whether vaccines are safe or effective. We are here to stand and hear the justification for mandating medical 93%. To block this conversation isn't democracy, it's division. It is a way to sidestep the fact that there is no proof to the justification of this bill. You know why it's so confusing? Because this bill makes changes across the board. It involves the Education Act. It involves the Public Health Act. It involves the bill itself. What person in their right mind has time to rifle through all the minutiae that is this bill? And that is what he's banking on. And we're here to hold him accountable and say, it is your job to prove the worthiness of a bill. It is your job to show that it is needed, especially if you are going to trample rights and freedoms for the safety of the immunocompromised, as he has said. There's this idea that everyone who needs an exemption for medical reasons will be able to get one. Mr. Carty has said that doctors are free to provide medical exemptions as they see fit. That is a quotation directly from him from Bill 39 hearings. And yet, the College of Physicians and Surgeons of New Brunswick has come out to say that is not the case. There has to be proof that a medical exemption is warranted, and there are very specific conditions which must come from very specific organizations, such as the CDC or the Pediatric Society, to give merit to a medical exemption. And you know what? The medical exemption rate in New Brunswick as it stands now is 0. 0.
Because they're not giving them out. They'll lose their license if they do.
There are problems, there are holes in this bill that he has yet to speak to. And that's why we are here. For him to speak to the specifics of this bill, to the specifics of the data in New Brunswick, and not to silence opposition with terms anti-vax and conspiracy theorists. Public schools are meant to be inclusive, not exclusive. Our whole Public Schools Act is built around this concept. A very smart MLA in the testimonies to Bill 39 actually called attention to all of the violations which are potential within the Education Act should this bill pass. The medical officer of health already has the power to exclude infectious disease from school, according to the Public Health Act. Why do we need another policy which is exclusionary? To be unvaccinated is not to be equated with diseased. Medical decisions are private decisions, not government decisions.
Hear, hear!
The Canadian Pediatric Society cautions against mandating vaccines, and this is counterproductive to the goal of increasing vaccination rates. It is not the role of government to intervene. You gotta have your proof that the bill will have an impact. And we're waiting. Mr. Carty has said, I wouldn't feel comfortable supporting legislation which intervenes in the parent-child relationship. Yet he claims this bill does not do that. And yet, here we stand with the notwithstanding clause included in this bill, which is tacit acknowledgement of this very thing. It is a violation of freedoms. It is a violation of the sanctity of the parent-child relationship. And
Sorry.
we want to hear, Mr. Carty. I want to hear you answer to this and not sidestep it with semantics. He claims it's only in the school system.
It's everywhere.
It's only in the public school system. Yet those children exist in communities. How far is the reach going to be? We let this one slide. We've lost our footing. We're here to say we will not move. And we want answers.